Hi, everybody. It's Scott Smith, and I'm here for a little reading on the moons. Um, this month, I didn't do a reading, a week by week, blow by blow, so to speak. Instead, I did an introduction on the Patreon, which is a public post to the sort of pin in the wheel of the work for me this year, which has a lot to do with relationships, truth, and discernment, but also how do we address that in a more poetic way, rather than going at each other and beating each other over the head with truth, for whatever that means. And I also will explore that. We're looking more at delivering truth and story, inspiration, and welcoming invitations through our tone, through examinations of the way in which we can say the same things but differently. So no reading this month. That was just kind of like the setting the pace for things. I did want to do something on the moons, and so I have shuffled some cards here using the Alchemical Tarot. This is again one of my favorite decks that was referred to me, and I like to draw from it. And I did a past, present, and future for this moon because I sort of wanted to draw from that pin in the wheel to sort of like look at the face of things, right? What are the three faces of the moment: the past, the present, and the future? So in the first card, that is the past, I pulled the sun. Lovely imagery in the Alchemical Tarot. And this really has a childlike feel to me in referencing the past, a nostalgia, looking back at recapping maybe the pleasures, the achievements, however great or small. It's not a contest in our ability, right? It's looking back at our past achievements and sort of putting those all together on the screen of our mind and threading those as like a little garland of memory. These are the things that were accomplished. These are the things that are good. When I think about the coming year, I'm going to start from that place by not looking back at the struggle. Our emphasis on what we focus on is really telling about us. We're putting out a vibration. We're a sound box to the music of our experience. And we got to ask ourselves if the songs we're playing, if they're sad, if they're filled with struggle, anger, and grief, and why, right? And are we exploring what that means? It's to think about changing the sound in the song, creating shifts, and understanding that we change the vibration. There are rules of magic, right? And if we want to apply change, we have to understand that we're the one that's going to change and create the transformation. And I'm not blaming all of our problems on ourselves, but I am highlighting what we fixate on, right? Because what we fixate on, whether it's positive or negative, it becomes a belief of a sort. It becomes a thought form in itself that becomes very powerful, and it can be hard to shift that. And if we have become enmeshed in the thought forms that it's struggle or it's work and it's always must be this hard toil, why are we really putting ourselves in a position where we believe that? Because all beliefs should be questioned, right? That's healthy. That's good. So to look at the sun as a message of the past, to say that the magic is the art and science of change, and that the one that changes is us, right? And so we begin by that by changing our focus, which is that sun energy. And the second card that I got for the present is the world. And this one's very interesting to me because I just did some community work, and this really a message I got was to just pay attention to the now, to be aware of what's happening in our worlds, in our bodies, and in our physical spaces. We tend to focus on energies. We tend to focus on spiritual stuff, us witchy folks. And we can sometimes overlook the obvious or overlook the present. And when I see the world in this aspect here, it's really speaking to me of the elements and the spirit within those elements. This was a part of the sort of like yearly beginning, was to look at the now and to be present for these sorts of things. So focus on the path, draw in those positive experiences, be present in the now, see what's happening in the world, raveling or unraveling, and find your place within it. Watch the clouds, watch the watch nature change, and all of its destructive and healing aspects. Those are all telling us something to be mindful of. And the future card, when we always go, ooh, we got death, right? So this is a card that's looking forward to transformation, that's looking for the ending of one thing, which is the beginning of another. Death is the one side of the face. It's one piece of the whole that is life. I was looking at some information. There was a funny meme. It was like reincarnation or rebirth, and I really found myself settling into this idea of rebirth as a process. And then a bunch of stories came up to me about how when one part ends, it's actually the beginning of another. And this is a kind of poetry that I want us to cultivate, that in endings there is beginning, in finality there is conclusion, and there is a welcoming of wonder or the potential for something new. So string together that garland of the positive memories of the past, be present in the future, and look at the way forward as wiping the slate clean, and what that can mean for you in what's next. Because what we're vibrating, the music that we're putting out, right, that's sort of calling in the dancers. And I'm not judging anybody's choice of music. I'm just asking us to look at it. And that's my message on the moons. I hope you enjoy. All of my information is in my social links. You can find it there. Thanks for watching.